In the heart of West Virginia, nestled amongst rolling hills and winding roads, lived the Miller family. Pa Miller, a strong man with kind eyes, worked tirelessly in the coal mines, his face often smudged with black dust. Ma Miller, her hands always busy, kept their small home warm and welcoming, filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread and the sound of children's laughter. Their children, Lily and Tom, were bright and full of energy, eager to learn and explore the world around them. Despite their parents' hard work, the Millers struggled to make ends meet. The coal mine paid little, and unexpected expenses always seemed to pop up. Their little house, though filled with love, was constantly threatened by debt. Pa Miller worked long hours in the dark and dangerous mine. Each day was a risk, a gamble with fate. He knew the dangers, but he also knew he had to provide for his family. He dreamed of a better future for Lily and Tom, one where they wouldn't have to worry about money or hardship. Ma Miller did her best to stretch every dollar, mending clothes, growing vegetables in their small garden, and teaching her children the value of hard work and resilience. She worried constantly about Pa's safety and the ever-present threat of losing their home. They were a family bound together by love and determination, facing life's challenges head-on, one day at a time. Their simple life, though filled with struggle, was rich in love and family. One fateful Tuesday, the mine whistle shrieked, a sound that always sent a shiver down Ma Miller's spine. It was a signal, a warning, often of tragedy. That day, her worst fears came true. There had been an accident deep within the earth, a cave-in that injured several miners, including Pa. News traveled slowly, carried by worried neighbors and hushed whispers. When Ma Miller finally learned the truth, her heart felt like it would break. Pa had been seriously hurt. He was alive, but his leg was crushed, and the doctors weren't sure if he would ever walk again. The days that followed were a blur of worry and hardship. Ma Miller rushed back and forth to the hospital, leaving Lily and Tom in the care of kind neighbors. The medical bills piled up, each one a stark reminder of their growing financial crisis. With Pa unable to work, their already meager income vanished entirely. The threat of eviction loomed larger than ever, casting a dark shadow over their little home. Lily and Tom, sensing their mother's distress, tried to be brave, but fear flickered in their young eyes. The laughter that once filled their home was replaced by a heavy silence, a constant reminder of the accident that had changed their lives forever. Their world had been turned upside down in an instant, leaving them struggling to find their footing in the face of overwhelming adversity. The eviction notice arrived on a cold, gray morning, slipped under the door like a silent threat. Ma Miller's heart sank as she read the words, each one a nail in the coffin of their already fragile existence. They had 30 days to leave their home, the only place Lily and Tom had ever known. Food became scarce. Ma Miller skipped meals to ensure her children had enough to eat. The once vibrant garden, now neglected, yielded little. Lily and Tom understood the gravity of the situation. They stopped asking for treats and quietly helped their mother with chores, their small hands eager to ease her burden. One evening, as the family sat around a flickering candle, sharing a meager supper of beans and bread, a deep sense of despair settled over them. Pa, still recovering in the hospital, felt helpless, unable to provide for his family. Ma Miller fought back tears, trying to maintain a brave face for her children, but the weight of their circumstances was crushing her spirit. They were trapped in a cycle of poverty and misfortune, with no apparent escape. Hope seemed like a distant dream, fading further away with each passing day. The future looked bleak, filled with uncertainty and fear. They were truly desperate. One night, Lily couldn't sleep. The thought of losing their home, of being cold and hungry, kept swirling in her mind. She remembered a school lesson about President Kennedy, a man known for his kindness and his desire to help people. A spark of hope flickered within her. Quietly, she slipped out of bed and found a piece of paper and a crayon. With her brow furrowed in concentration, she began to write a letter. She poured out her heart, describing her father's accident, their struggles, and their fear of becoming homeless. She wrote about her love for her family and her dreams for the future. She didn't know if the president would ever read her letter, but she had to try. It was the only thing she could think of to do. She carefully folded the letter, addressed it to President John F. Kennedy, the White House, Washington, D.C., and placed a stamp on it, a stamp Mom Miller had saved for a special occasion. The next morning, Lily walked to the post office, her small hand clutching the precious letter. With a silent prayer, she dropped it into the mailbox, entrusting her family's fate to the hands of a stranger, a powerful man she had only seen in pictures. She hoped, with all her heart, that her plea would be heard. In the bustling White House, amidst stacks of official documents and urgent memos, a small, slightly smudged envelope caught the eye of President Kennedy's secretary. The handwriting was childlike, and the return address was a small town in West Virginia. Intrigued, she placed it on top of the pile. Later that evening, after a long day of meetings and decisions, President Kennedy retreated to his private study. He noticed the letter and, drawn by its simplicity, opened it. As he read Lily's words, his heart ached. He was deeply moved by her story of hardship and resilience. He saw in her family's struggle a reflection of the challenges faced by many Americans, challenges he was determined to address. He remembered his own family's early struggles, the sacrifices his parents had made. He understood the fear and uncertainty that the Millers must be feeling. He was a man of action, and he knew he couldn't ignore this heartfelt plea. The letter resonated with him on a personal level, reminding him of his duty to protect and support the most vulnerable members of society. He knew he had to do something, and he had to do it quickly. He carefully placed the letter on his desk, a reminder of the human cost of poverty and the power of hope. The next morning, President Kennedy summoned his most trusted advisor, a man known for his discretion and his unwavering loyalty. He showed him Lily's letter and explained the situation. "I want you to look into this quietly," he instructed. "Find out everything you can about the Miller family. Verify their needs, their circumstances. But do it discreetly. I don't want them to feel like they're being investigated." He emphasized the need for speed and compassion. He wanted to help the Millers, but he also wanted to ensure that any assistance they received was appropriate and sustainable. He directed his advisor to work with various government agencies and charitable organizations to gather information and develop a plan. The president stressed the importance of maintaining confidentiality. He didn't want the Millers to know that he was personally involved, fearing that it would create unwanted attention and pressure. He wanted them to receive help without feeling like they were receiving special treatment. He wanted to restore their hope and dignity, not make them feel like charity cases. He trusted his advisor to handle the situation with sensitivity and efficiency, knowing that the fate of the Miller family rested in his capable hands. The wheels of change, set in motion by a little girl's letter, were now turning swiftly and silently behind the scenes. A few days later, a sleek, dark car pulled up to the Millers' humble home. A well-dressed woman, her face kind and reassuring, stepped out. She introduced herself as Ms. Eleanor Reynolds, a representative from a private foundation dedicated to helping families in need. Ms. Reynolds explained that she had heard about the Millers' situation and wanted to see how the foundation could assist them. She spoke with Mom Miller, listening patiently as she recounted their struggles. She asked about Pa's condition, the medical bills, and the looming eviction. She also spent time talking to Lily and Tom, asking about their school and their dreams. Ms. Reynolds was careful not to reveal the president's involvement. She presented herself as a caring individual who genuinely wanted to help. She assured Mom Miller that the foundation would do everything it could to ease their burden. She promised to review their case and come back with a plan. Her presence brought a glimmer of hope to the Millers' home, a ray of sunshine piercing through the clouds of despair. For the first time in weeks, Mom Miller felt a sense of relief, a belief that maybe, just maybe, things were about to get better. The visit, though brief, left a lasting impression, a promise of help and a renewed sense of hope for the future. A week later, Ms. Reynolds returned, her face radiating warmth and optimism. She carried with her a stack of documents and a reassuring smile. "I have good news," she announced. "The foundation has approved your application for assistance." She explained that the foundation would be covering all of Pa's medical bills, relieving them of that enormous burden. She also presented Mom Miller with a check to cover their living expenses for the next few months, ensuring that they wouldn't have to worry about food or eviction. Mom Miller's eyes filled with tears of relief and gratitude. She couldn't believe that their prayers had been answered. Lily and Tom jumped for joy, their faces beaming with happiness. The weight that had been pressing down on their family for so long began to lift. It felt like a miracle, a gift from above. Ms. Reynolds also informed them that the foundation had arranged for a lawyer to help them navigate the complicated workers' compensation system, ensuring that Pa would receive the benefits he deserved. The financial relief was immense, providing them with a much-needed safety net and a chance to rebuild their lives. The dark clouds that had been hovering over their home began to dissipate, replaced by a glimmer of hope and a renewed sense of security. With the financial burden lifted, Mom Miller could finally focus on Pa's recovery. She visited him every day at the hospital, bringing him home-cooked meals and reading him stories. Pa, in turn, was determined to get better, fueled by the knowledge that his family was safe and secure. The lawyer, a kind and experienced man named Mr. Thompson, worked tirelessly to navigate the complex legal system. He fought for Pa's rights, ensuring that he received fair compensation for his injuries. He explained everything clearly and patiently, answering all of Mom Miller's questions and alleviating her anxieties. Lily and Tom excelled in school, no longer distracted by worries about food or eviction. They were able to focus on their studies and pursue their dreams. Lily dreamed of becoming a teacher, while Tom aspired to be a doctor. They knew that their parents had sacrificed so much for them, and they were determined to make them proud. The atmosphere in the Miller home transformed. Laughter filled the air once again, and the scent of freshly baked bread wafted through the rooms. The family was healing, both physically and emotionally, their bonds strengthened by the challenges they had overcome. Their future, once bleak and uncertain, now shone with promise and possibility. As Pa Miller recovered, it became clear that he would never be able to return to the coal mines. The thought of him going back to that dangerous work filled Mom Miller with dread. Ms. Reynolds, aware of their concerns, presented them with another opportunity. She explained that the foundation, with the president's discreet encouragement, had arranged for Pa to receive job training. He could learn a new skill, one that was safer and offered better long-term prospects. There were programs available in carpentry, mechanics, and even computer programming. Pa was hesitant at first. He had been a coal miner his entire life. He didn't know if he could learn something new. But with Mom Miller's encouragement and the support of Ms. Reynolds, he decided to give it a try. He chose to study mechanics, a field that had always fascinated him. He enrolled in a vocational training program and threw himself into his studies. It was challenging, but he persevered, driven by his desire to provide for his family and build a better future. He discovered a hidden talent for working with engines and machines. He excelled in his classes, earning the respect of his instructors and his fellow students. The training program gave him a new sense of purpose and confidence, replacing his fear and uncertainty with hope and determination. Upon completing his training, Pa Miller secured a job at a local garage, repairing cars and trucks. The work was challenging but fulfilling, and the pay was significantly better than what he had earned in the mines. He was able to provide his family with a comfortable life, free from the constant worry of debt and hardship. Mom Miller beamed with pride as she watched her husband thrive in his new career. She was grateful for the opportunity he had been given and for his determination to make the most of it. Lily and Tom continued to excel in school, inspired by their parents' resilience and hard work. The Miller family's life was transformed. They were no longer defined by their struggles but by their strength, their love, and their unwavering hope for the future. They had overcome adversity with grace and determination, emerging stronger and more united than ever before. Their home was filled with laughter, love, and gratitude, a testament to the power of kindness and the enduring spirit of the human heart. They often spoke of the angel who had come to their rescue, never knowing that it was a little girl's letter and a president's compassion that had changed their lives forever. They made sure to pay the kindness forward whenever they had the opportunity, helping others in need and spreading hope wherever they went. A few years later, Lily, now a bright and confident young woman, sat down to write another letter. This time, it wasn't a plea for help, but a heartfelt thank you. She wrote to President Kennedy, expressing her deepest gratitude for his kindness and generosity. She shared how his intervention had transformed her family's life, allowing her father to find a new career, her mother to worry less, and her and Tom to pursue their dreams. She described how they were paying forward his kindness by volunteering in their community and helping others in need. She wrote about her own aspirations to become a teacher, inspired by the educators who had supported her through her family's difficult times. She wanted to make a difference in the lives of children, just as President Kennedy had made a difference in hers. She ended her letter by wishing him well and promising to always remember his compassion and his commitment to helping those less fortunate. She sealed the letter with a heart full of gratitude and mailed it, hoping that it would reach him and bring a smile to his face. She wanted him to know that his actions had not only saved her family but had also inspired them to live lives of purpose and service. She knew that his legacy would live on, not only in the history books but also in the hearts of those he had touched. Inspired by President Kennedy's act of kindness, the Miller family dedicated themselves to helping others in their community. They volunteered at the local soup kitchen, providing meals to those in need. They organized clothing drives for families struggling to make ends meet. They tutored children who were falling behind in school. Pa Miller, with his newfound mechanical skills, offered free car repairs to single mothers and low-income families. Ma Miller, with her warm heart and gentle spirit, became a mentor to young women facing difficult circumstances. Lily, true to her word, became a teacher, instilling in her students the values of compassion, empathy, and service. Tom, after becoming a doctor, returned to his hometown to provide medical care to underserved communities. The Miller family's story became a beacon of hope in West Virginia, a testament to the power of one act of kindness to transform lives and inspire others to do good. They showed that even in the face of adversity, it was possible to overcome challenges and create a better world. Their legacy of service and compassion lived on through the countless lives they touched, a ripple effect of kindness that spread far beyond their small town. They proved that even ordinary people could make an extraordinary difference. Back in the White House, President Kennedy received Lily's second letter. He read it with a warm smile, his heart filled with joy. He was deeply gratified to learn that his actions had not only helped the Miller family overcome their challenges, but had also inspired them to make a difference in the world. He realized that true leadership wasn't just about making big decisions or enacting grand policies. It was about connecting with people on a human level, understanding their struggles, and offering a helping hand. It was about inspiring hope and empowering others to reach their full potential. He kept Lily's letter on his desk, a constant reminder of the power of kindness and the importance of serving others. It motivated him to continue fighting for social justice and economic opportunity for all Americans. He understood that even small acts of compassion could have a profound and lasting impact on the lives of individuals and communities. He often reflected on the Miller family's story, sharing it with his staff and encouraging them to remember the human element in their work. He believed that government should be a force for good, a source of hope and support for those who needed it most. He saw in the Miller family's resilience and their commitment to service a reflection of the best qualities of the American spirit. As President Kennedy looked out the window of the Oval Office, gazing at the Washington Monument in the distance, he pondered the significance of his role. He understood that being president wasn't just about power and prestige, but about responsibility and service. It was about using his position to make a positive impact on the lives of everyday Americans, to lift them up when they were down, and to give them the opportunity to achieve their dreams. He knew that there were countless other families like the Millers, struggling with poverty, illness, and hardship. He was determined to do everything in his power to create a more just and equitable society, where everyone had the chance to thrive. He realized that even a single act of kindness, a small gesture of compassion, could have a ripple effect, inspiring others to do good and creating a more caring and connected world. He vowed to continue fighting for the forgotten, the marginalized, and the vulnerable, to be a voice for those who had no voice, and to be a champion for the American dream. He understood that his legacy would be measured not by the grand policies he enacted, but by the lives he touched and the hope he inspired. And as he turned back to his desk, ready to face the challenges of a new day, he carried with him the memory of the Miller family, a reminder of the power of kindness and the enduring spirit of the American people.